Dr. Shivan, thank you very much for joining us on Beyond World is One. So, first to start about the present reforms that are introduced in ISRO and the new plans for the organization, I'd like to ask you that currently private players are manufacturing and supplying components and several other parts for our rockets and satellites. But what is your long-term vision? When do you think that they can perform end-to-end operations as is part of our vision, sir?
So basically, this reform, whatever we are talking, is exactly whatever we are telling. Right now, as you said, that they are only supplying components and modules, and whereas that space activities that involves that making the rockets, making the spacecraft, and owning the spacecraft and providing services and other things. So what we are this reform, whatever we are talking, is maybe enabling them to carry out the space activities of rocket building, satellite building, owning spacecraft, and providing service. That way, it is that is the vision of that is the whole purpose of or the objective of this reform.
Sir, by what time are we expecting this to materialize? Because this seems to be a long-term plan, as also the minister had specified yesterday.
Definitely, that is that we are providing that platform for the private players to do the work. This one, how when they will be able to do come to that this activity, that we have to wait and see. But already that some that the startups have already started work on these activities and on this aspect.
Right. So space is one field that involves extremely high investment. It has high risk, but also the return on investment is quite slow, sir. So how do you think our private sector and startups will be able to match up to this level of investment?
Okay, regarding the high risk that they have to take it, that number one. Number two, that regarding that high investment, this one, at least that we are to some extent helping them in this aspect by allowing them to use share our facilities. That way, they need not establish the high cost facilities by their own. That way, they'll be slight easing will be there for their thing. And regarding that the return, if you are seeing that definitely there are some sectors with a lot of return is there. That is in terms of applications as well as in terms of the ground segment. And whereas the returns may be very small for the rockets or spacecraft. And so whereas the rockets and spacecraft are highly risky affair also. I'm sure that the private sectors will take care of all these things and they do the needful for to become entrepreneurs in this area.
Sir, are you saying that in the long term, when this vision becomes a reality, in many decades from now, are we looking at ISRO purely focusing on R&D and all the routine launch operations and other station keeping of satellites, etc., being outsourced to private companies? Are we looking that in the very long term?
No, this see that is that it is this plan is not for giving any work of research to private people. We have to keep in mind we are allowing the private people to do the job. It is not that some job of the research is removed and given to private players. It's not like that. Private players are enabled to carry out this job, and ISRO will continue to do that one. And at the same time, that definitely that ISRO will have to spend more time and energy on that advanced technology development and advanced mission and certain national missions. That type of things are there in addition to that existing thing. So now what we are telling is that it is not to take away job of ISRO. It is that we are asking them to get involved in space activity. So please do. That's what our vision.
Sir, is this current reform an attempt of India to actually replicate a sort of Western model of military industry academia nexus? Because that is what led to several space programs' success.
Yes, definitely that it will finally involve the industries to get more and more involvement in all that activities. The reform will pave the way for that.
Sir, and pertaining to the amount of training and resources that ISRO is going to allocate for our private partners from the industry, would it be on a paid basis, or would we be charging them? Would ISRO be charging them for the facilities or for the training? How would it be worked out?
That is that definitely that is it may be that it will be a charge basis only, but the charging how much, that is whether you have to charge fully or with some reduction or with no cost, that depends on case to case basis.
Sir, and pertaining to launches by private firms, which is also a part of our vision, will these private companies be operating the entire launch apparatus, or will they be handing over complete rockets and will ISRO be doing the launching?
Now that we have to see their request, what they are expecting us to share, contribute. So that we need to discuss that aspect. So that is as per request, how they are going to come up, that we have to see, and based on that we will take a decision.
Right, right. So there are often some apprehensions raised about the sensitive dual-use nature of all aspects of rocket technology, particularly launch vehicle technology. So how are we going to deal with the sensitive aspects of such sophisticated technology that very few countries have?
So that for that purpose only in the in space, that is one of the directorates. It is going to be the safety and security directorates, at the same time legal directorates. So this director that we see that totally around the five directors we are thinking. One is the technical, then the safety security, that legal, monitoring and promotion. And definitely these directorates will take care of that all these aspects, whatever we are referring.
Sir, certainly when it comes to launching by private firms, we should also be having multiple contingency plans in place because rocket science is risky and there could be mishaps. So what about the responsibility in such cases, sir?
No, that is the discretion of this particular in space, whatever we are talking. They have to have a mechanism, and also that by this time that we will be having this one, that is our the Space Act bill also will come in the picture. So with all those things, will define totally this one.
So pertaining to the development of semi-cryogenic engine currently, how far have we come and how many years until we have a more powerful engine that can replace the current 4-ton lift capability to GSO? And also, will private players be allowed to build as sophisticated components such as thrusters and engines on their own?
Definitely, that the private players will be allowed to build that rocket engine and everything, but that requires a lot of investment. And I think if they are ready to do that, definitely we are welcome. They are welcome to do that investment and do that task.
Right.
And as far as that we are concerned, that our semi-cryogenic engine technology that development is going on, and we will be coming very soon with the test results and other things. And because of the COVID environment, that our activity was got affected for some time. I'm sure that these things will be relaxed and things will be in a better shape after some time.
Sir, pertaining to the work from home culture, you yourself mentioned COVID. So we are curious to know how are India's top scientists perhaps working from home during these unprecedented times, because all of them need labs, sophisticated equipment. So how much is ISRO able to work from home, sir?
See, this when you are talking about this activity, that activity involves many things. That is that the software development, then the documentation, and even a review, and many. Then of course that lab, sophisticated lab, whatever you are telling, all those things. So that many of the other activities, like reviewing and designing, reviewing, and documentation. This aspect we could do easily through that work from home. And once it is partially the systems are become normal, then we started making use of that our labs also.
So 2020-21 is quite a busy year indeed for ISRO. A lot of big ticket projects also. So how are we hoping to catch up once things normalize, sir? Because we have Chandrayaan 3, Gaganyaan, Aditya L1, NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar, and many more missions. So how are we going to make up once things resume back to normal?
Yes, that is a very difficult question. That is that we need to pick up that once that the system become normal, we'll work out a strategy and we'll make things happen. What else we can do? We'll wait for things to become normal.
So indeed, I remember at Sriharikota, sir, ISRO had in fact created a record last in 2019 November when in nearly 30-35 days, 3 launches were done. Do you think we are going to scale up capability to that limit hereafter?
Yes, yes, definitely. Yes, that our always we will be making records. This one, we'll also do it. Okay.
Sir, also just one final question, sir, about our dependence on French rockets. Like we're always talking about self-reliant India, and that is a new vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So when can we expect Indian rockets to compete in the big league of global rockets? Like we're talking about 10-ton plus capability to geostationary orbit. What is your vision for that, sir?
So this first of all, this rocket development is requires a huge investment and other testing, and if the private players are willing to invest such money, and we are welcome this one to produce the huge rockets. Otherwise, ISRO has a plan to develop huge rockets for launching heavy payload.
Okay, sir, and final question about SSLV. Sir, SSLV was also due for launch this year, the third launch vehicle in our stable, and it was supposed to be one of the milestone launches of the year. When can we expect that, and how complete is that particular SSLV project, sir?
We are very close to that achieving the mission, but we are waiting for this COVID issues to come to somewhat a better situation for carrying out the job.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shivan. Thank you very much for speaking to WION and making time for us, sir.
Thank you.